Speech from Penny Wong regarding China, critical of the Chinese Communist Party, but accusing the government of essentially fear-mongering for domestic use, political use. What did you make of this?
Yeah, I think it's the strongest Labor has gone yet on departing from the government on how to handle the relationship with China. Now, I put this to Penny Wong yesterday that you are declaring the end of bipartisanship because you're saying words matter a lot in foreign policy, and she's right, they do, and you're saying that Labor fundamentally disagrees with the government on how they are conducting themselves rhetorically. So it is a big shift.
Not any of the things they've done on Huawei, on have an inquiry and so on, but how they do it has been...
Yeah, that's all. So she's saying the structural stuff is all bipartisan, but words matter so much in foreign policy that we are now calling the Prime Minister out. I think that's significant. I think it was a substantial speech, and half of it was very critical of the Chinese government under Xi Jinping. And it was fascinating some of the insights she went into. She said this isn't just a great power flexing its muscles, this is different. This has an ideological dimension that's unlike anything we've seen in our lifetime. It was really interesting stuff. Now, but the politics is interesting. Her office dropped out this speech, only one half of the speech, the half that was critical of the government. We got none of that in the version that was dropped out. Now, she obviously, and Labor obviously, wants to send that domestic political message that the government's stuffing the relationship up. Where I sit, I kind of go, this is a good, substantial speech. Why wouldn't you drop the whole thing out? Why do you only want one half of that message out there?
So, I mean, is that fair enough? We know so often excerpts are put out there, and that's the element a government or opposition wants in the brightest lights, right?
Yeah, you see it all the time. They'll give you parts of an announcement or the speech that refers to things we already know, and then the next day there'll be something in there that's new and exciting. The idea, I think, being that you get 2 days' worth of coverage instead of one. But on an issue like this, if your argument is around communication and presenting a holistic picture of your opinion on something as inflammatory as the kinds of things potentially that Penny Wong was saying about China, it doesn't bode particularly well for your own point, which is that, well, we think that there are certain things that need to be said in a certain way. We'll criticise the government because we don't think they're right, but we'll hold out actually telling you how we would say it, which, to be honest, all those talking points were not dissimilar to some of the things that the government has said on some of those points.
Just finally and briefly, thought really interesting, we're getting this sort of distilling of the debate, Labor readying to maybe lop off the most generous part of income tax cut phase 3, but maybe keep a low and middle income tax offset. What do you think of that strategy?
I think if they were in a more match fit ready position, that's a fight on taxes that is a really valid one to have. I also think the government is absolutely prepared for it. And the reason they're being so kind of cagey, well, potentially the reason Labor's being so cagey around it is because I don't think they've quite picked how to argue when they know that the government will come back and say, well, this is a tax on aspiration. You want to earn $200,000? Well, Labor will tax you more if you do. I don't think Labor have figured out how to have that fight yet, even though they're edging closer to it.
The tricky part for the government, they'll have to convince everyone the low and middle income tax offset is a double tax cut. It is. Stage 2 is the same thing, but people are getting used to Lamito, as it's known, because it keeps getting extended.
Yeah, I mean, Labor hasn't made any decision yet because they don't know what strategy they're going to bring into the election. Elbow was there in 2006-07 under Kevin Rudd, where he attacked the coalition from a point of economic kind of conservatism, said this reckless spending.
Profligate.
Yes. Yeah. And he's clearly considering going with that attack line, and this is related to that because we're being more responsible. Now, whether that works in the middle of a global pandemic where Australians probably understand that a whole lot of money is needed to be spent, I'm not sure. The jury is out, but they're considering that.
Anthony Galloway, Claire Armstrong, thanks for your time.